Okay, it says we are live. Let's hope we are actually live this time.
Well,
And of
it
course,
says it says it was live.
it is. I believe I'm fairly certain we are live now on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, and we are live on LinkedIn as well. Actually, in fact, as well. So, welcome everybody
Wow.
to Conversations with Author Holly and Amit. We did do this yesterday, but we had a technical glitch with the sound. It was awful, so I deleted them. But basically, we're just going to repeat everything verbatim. Uh, so, I hope your memory is good, Holly.
I will try.
Me too. We're going to see how this goes today compared to yesterday anyway. So yesterday, and obviously the interesting thing about today from yesterday is that actually we still don't know on that side of the Atlantic. I mean, it's still, we've been following it. I've been following it. Oh, are you still there? There we go. There we go. I've been following it obviously quite heavily here as well, finding out what's going on, and obviously there's still no decision, so much in up in the air. But also today is the last day of freedom for the UK before we go into lockdown. Many places in Europe are already starting to do that. I've seen it have an impact on people. I think people are still reeling from what's happened before in terms of the impact it's had on them, but. And of course, I mean, let's face it. I mean, lockdown was not an easy time for a number of reasons. You know, with everything going on, all the challenges, the George Floyd thing, it just divided the world in so many different ways. There just seems to be so much going on, and for some people, not a lot of hope. But we myself and Holly aim to be your rays of hope, and we want to share with you some of the things that we do to help keep ourselves in balance, keep ourselves in check. Keep ourselves feeling good and in a place where we still feel like we're in a good well-being state. We're still what's the best way to put this? To be you used a good word yesterday, to thrive. I think that's a great word, isn't it? To thrive. So
Right.
we're going to be discussing all of this today and more. So I'm going to start with Holly, because we actually started with Holly yesterday and she told a bit of a story, and it was a really nice story and it's a good concept. So I think it's worth you sharing again, and we can
Okay.
take it from there.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share with you the parable, which is the story or the parable of the ballet dancer. And each of us is the ballet dancer. Okay. All right. So for any dancer, but specifically for a ballet dancer, when they are in that spin, okay, those beautiful spins or dancing across the stage, they need to have their what they call the dancer's core. Okay, they need to be very aware of the dancer's core, and what that is about is they have to have their abdominal muscles, their pelvic muscles, and their diaphragm all in alignment. They have to contract that lower abdominal muscle and just really have all of that in alignment. If those three things, the dancer's core is not in alignment, they're gonna go out of their spin. They're going to be out of control. They're not going to have that beauty. The reason I know this is because for years in college I actually took some ballet classes. I loved it. It was that extra class I took just for the fun of it, right? And it wasn't just in ballet, it was in any of the dance classes, right? Where you had to work on that core or you would lose your balance. You would not be in alignment. You wouldn't be able to do the beautiful stuff on the stage. Okay? So so everything that is happening in the world, that is the stage, okay? That is the stage of our lives, okay? In this story, and each of us is the dancer. And first, before we are concerned with everything else that is going on the stage or in the world, right? We need to be in alignment with ourselves. We need to be right in ourselves. And if we can do that, we can do those beautiful spins no matter what else is going on the stage. Okay? And so I share that story because right? There's a lot of stuff going on our stage right now in the world, right? Oh, the COVID stuff, elections, crazy energy just everywhere, right? And so each of us needs to find that alignment within ourselves. And so how do we do it? I talked about how a lot of people are asking me, well, how are you staying so positive? How are you staying so joyful through such atrocities that are going on in the world right now? And here's how I am thriving personally. And that is through keeping my dancer's core in alignment. Okay. And it may seem really far fetched, but it isn't. So, what Amit and I are going to do today, right, is we're going to break that down for you guys, so that maybe you can have your core in alignment while all this stuff is going on, and you can feel that centeredness for yourself. All right. And so we're going to talk about that, right? And what kind of things that we can do. So remember, each of us is the dancer, and the stage, the world, there's everything else that's going on that stage. But first, the dancer must take care of their center, their alignment, before paying attention to everything else on the stage.
It's the it's that analogy that we hear quite a lot of at the moment, which is that whole fill your cup first before you try and fill up the cup of others. And I subscribe to that, definitely. I think it's very important that we are in a good space. If you're running on empty or quite low and you try and help other people, of course, this is why we tend to get burned out. And so we have to find ways to fill ourselves up regularly. And we talked about some of those yesterday. And for me, one of my key ones is not watching the news too much. I will skim the headlines occasionally, but it's quite rare. I mean, last night is a good exception to the rule. I did keep up a little bit with what was going on with the US elections. I think it's just fascinating generally. Not that I'm too concerned at the results. I think, whatever happens, even if it's the worst case scenario, it's 4 years. So at the end of the day, it's not forever, and things will change. And sometimes when things come along to shake us all, it does so in a way that makes us realize what we don't want. So it's not always a bad thing. To the point, the news can be so bad for mental health because we're fed headlines, we're pumped headlines constantly. And if you have the news on in the background, you've got newspapers around you, you see them constantly, they're hitting you, they're bombarding your subconscious, and they are there, and they're designed to generate fear. They're designed to create an addiction so that you keep going back for more. And the more we pay attention to these headlines, the greater the impact it's going to have on our well-being. So one thing for me personally, and one of the first things I do, is minimize as much as possible my attention to the news. Of course, I watch other things, I listen to other things, information, documentary, things like that. But the day-to-day news, I generally don't do that.
Right. That's one thing for us here in our household as well, is that is just not something that we partake of, because obviously that generates a lot of fear, like you said, and it keeps that anxiety going. My mom, I love her. She watches the news too much, and so she will message me like in panic mode. And so I have to remind her, okay, stop watching the news, Mom. Stop watching the news. And she messages me, I'm her happy place, right? And so I just have to remind her that, because here at home, on our iPhones, right, there's the news, right, that pops up, and so maybe we'll read, I'll read 1 or 2 a day, or maybe 1 or 2 every 3 days, right? But we hardly ever turn on the news, ever, because that's just not where we want our focus to go. In our whole household, we have been doing marvelous here because that is not our focus, right? And it really is. You really can be thriving through all of this. You don't have to partake in what's going on the stage. You can be aware of it, right? but you're keeping that your core, you're keeping your alignment. Yeah.
Some
And one
people
of
feel
those
like,
ways is definitely not to be partaking of, as much of the news that's out there, just really limit yourself.
absolutely. And some people feel like that they should be watching the news. If they're not, they're being ignorant, that they should be outraged by what's going on in the world. They should be feeling this, they should be feeling that, they should be incensed to this, that, the other. But I don't feel that way, because I think that most of it is sensationalist, and this is why I don't worry about it. But I do concern myself with the true things going on out there, but it's being mindful of which sources I go to, and generally speaking, none of the mainstream ones. But I think there are a lot better things we can do with our time than watching the news, like you said, right? It is just you tell your family not to, tell your mom not to, because you can see how bad an impact it will have on her mental well-being. And especially I think when we get older, that fear can creep in a little bit more, can trick us a little bit. And I don't know about you, but another thing for me is that, on the flip side to that is pumping lots of good stuff into my head. So whether it's watching or listening to lots of podcasts, watching lots of beautiful videos just like this one, seeing smiley faces like Holly and other individuals, and listening to the wise words of wisdom, to feel good, to feel inspired, to feel better, to put myself in a better place mentally, physically, spiritually, everything. And so for me, I spend a lot of my time listening to audiobooks on my morning walks. I will, even when I'm at home, I tend to have nice music in the background, like study concentration music, which always helps as well. And it's much more powerful, it's much more uplifting. I spend my time in the mornings meditating. But in terms of input, I just tend to only go to sources. Of course, I'll watch great things that I do like. I don't know about you, but I'm still a lover of Friends, and I'll sometimes just have it on the background. It is literally like for me hanging out with a group of old friends. So and it's funny. I still laugh at it. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen an episode of Friends, I will still just laugh my ass off constantly. And so things that make me laugh, anything like that.
So
for me,
another thing. That's another thing is connecting with people that regularly through anything that's going on, right? Is to have someone that you can connect with, that you can laugh with. Laughter is so important. It will keep you going. It will. It is so healthy for you, and it releases a lot of healthy chemicals in your brain and happy endorphins. So laughter is so essential. Even if you just put on a funny comedy and you just for 30 minutes laugh with that comedy, right? Or laugh with a friend on the phone. The point is, laughter is one of those things to help you stay in alignment.
100%. Yeah. What do you do for laughter?
What do I do for laughter? Well, okay,
Yeah.
my husband loves to make me laugh. So, if he sees me starting to get like too serious, he goes out of his way, I'm not kidding you, to get me laughing. So it's, I have a regular person here that does that for me. Whether it's tickling or whether it's just cracking funny jokes that are really stupid but they're really funny, or just watching funny stuff together, whatever it is, he loves to see me laughing. That's part of our connection. And so, you know, that's something that he likes to keep going here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
My wife and I as well, we often talk about this with other people who are struggling to find a partner, but we
But,
talk about
friends, good friends. Like I have a friend in another country and we connect and we just laugh. I mean, we talk about funny things and we just laugh together. So even if you don't have a partner, okay, you could call someone that you do know and talk about some funny things and laugh together. That's really all it needs to be. It doesn't matter if you have a partner or not. There are people out there that hopefully you're connected with people. And if you aren't during this hard, challenging time, then try and be connected with people that maybe you haven't seen for a while and reconnect and build that relationship over the phone, you know, um, it's really important to stay connected even though we aren't able to like be together, right? So that's really a critical thing in keeping our alignment, and so we can have those beautiful spins on the stage, right? The stage of our life. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you want to hear some of the other things that I do that help keep me thriving through all this?
Oh yes, absolutely. Hit us with them. Hit us with them. Before you do that,
Okay,
very
okay.
quickly, hi to Colleen, to Sheikh, to Anik, Ankita, to Penny, whoever's there. Send us any questions for Holly, myself, whatever as well, and make sure you give us lots of likes and lots of loves as well. So go for it. Hit us with all your wise words, Holly.
Absolutely. Okay. So one very, very important thing that helps me stay in alignment is nature. Okay. So even if you are in lockdown, like when we were in lockdown, we were allowed to still go walking on our street, or we were allowed to go to the park, but you just have to be careful when you are around people, right? Um, and even here, like, it's really cool when you see someone walking up the street, like another couple or someone walking their dog, like literally, like, we'll move to one side of the street or they'll move to the other side of the street. So it's just being respectful of the people that you do start seeing coming upon you, right? And one of you just moves over, so you're keeping your social distance. But the point is that you're getting out, and not only are you putting yourself into nature or just fresh air, or but if you are doing some like 30-minute cardio every day is so essential. And mostly, like, if you're in lockdown, no matter whatever the situation, it is important to get that 30 cardio in every single day, because it helps those healthy endorphins and the chemicals in the brain to be released. And so that's also helping you, but it's also keeping your body moving. It's also just 100% just healthy for you, just to get out and have a walk every day. It is really essential. And here's another thing: if you can't actually get out of your house to do that, then you turn on music or something like that in your house, and you go at it, just dancing or moving your body for 30 minutes. Turn on one of those, if you're a gamer, turn on one of those games where you actually have to like move with the game, and you get your fitness in, you get your cardio in while you're moving with the game. My husband has many of those, right? My one of my daughters has like a kickboxing one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. And you can do that right in your house. So it there are no excuses. I'm sorry, there are no excuses. It doesn't matter if you are in lockdown in your house, or if you don't live any close to any nature. The point is, you can get outside, you can do 30-minute walk, or you can dance in your own living room to whatever music you like, okay? And then you get that lovely music. We both talked about music yesterday and how it's part of our lives and we love music. So that gives you an opportunity to turn on some music and dance to it. So that's one of the things that keeps me going. Actually, that was two things, right? 30 minutes cardio keeps my brain, keeps my body, keeps me just emotionally centered and aligned. I mean, there's so many pluses. So cardio, 30 minutes cardio every day, and then getting out in some nature, whether it's a park or just walking down the street. Okay, let's consider getting out of the house at this point, nature. All right. So there's two things right there. All right. Um, you talked about at the beginning, you talked about some of the things that you do to keep yourself centered, like meditation, or so some of the things that I do, I call them like my self-care stack. So right when I wake up, I have like a little list. It may seem like a big list to other people, but because I have it so down, I like pound them out, but they are essential to my alignment. Okay. in my centeredness every day. And that would be things like prayer, my quiet meditation. That would be like my holly hug and my loving self-talk to myself. That would be my gratitude journaling. Okay. That would be just, you know, maybe reading for 10 or 15 minutes. The whole point is that, you know, it is centering me for the day. It is my self-care, and it kicks me off right on a beautiful path for every day. And it starts my mindset off perfectly, like, because I'm starting off with that joy and that gratitude right when I wake up. And here's another thing. So because this is so successful for me, I thought, you know what? There's so many people struggling. Here I am thriving through while everybody else is like really struggling. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And I thought, well, how can I help people? Yes, I come on my broadcast on my page, Positive Quotes with Author Holly, once a week, every Monday, and I do my broadcast and I bring my happy, smiling face to the people who are globally watching me. But also, I thought, okay, I'm going to put my like a self-care routine in a little book, like a little workbook, so that people can do kind of like the same thing I do. And so I've been working on that, and I literally put it into publication today. I pushed the button 30 minutes before we got on this broadcast. And this is what it is. Yeah. So I have it, but this is the proof. So the actual one just got published. So if you are a journaler, you can have the thick one, right? Which has the reflection journal in it. But if you are not a journaler, you just want to do your self-care and then get going on your day, then there's this version without the journaling. And basically, I got to show you, this is like the coolest part. And this is the 90-day one. There's the 30-day one if you don't want to jump full force in it. But basically, it's like like a self-care routine for you every single day. And you don't have to remember. It's all right here. So you just date it, and then you go through the list and you make sure that you're doing these things. And this is what the great masters, a lot of these things are what the great masters, how they thrive. And I'm like, I want to thrive. And this is how I thrive. Mine is in my own little notebook. But hey, now that I have this, I ordered myself a copy to start working in it. So once my little notebook is filled up, I get to start working in my own publication, because I'm going to use it, because it is what I do. So I listen to my own advice, because it's what has helped me to thrive. Okay. There's just a couple other things that are really important, like eating healthy. A lot of people think, like just because they're staying home are eating more junk food, but it's really important to keep eating healthy, to keep getting the right amount of sleep. Let's see, proper sleep. Let's see. There was one other thing I really wanted. Okay. So eating healthy, proper sleep. Okay.
There was
go ahead.
Exercise, eating
Yep.
healthy, laughing, and good sleep. And I think that was the main ones you mentioned yesterday. Okay.
Oh, right. Here's the other really, really important one. Okay. You guys have like a day left, right? Before you go into lockdown.
Well, that's it now. Pretty much it's going to happen now.
Okay. So maybe you have the opportunity to get some things or supplies that you might need for a hobby or something that you could do while you're in lockdown. So that's something that also helped me thrive, is that I was working on these projects, right? I was working on these projects. And for me, it was writing and publishing my books, my gratitude journals, right? Because I'm over a year on gratitude now. I'm going to keep going on it, because it has literally helped me thrive. to focus on that, like right when I get up every day. Um, but get yourself involved in a project with your hands. There's something about like just having your hands into something. It's very healthy for your mind. I don't know. Some people will do gardening. Some people will do crafts. Some people might do woodworking or some handicraft. But the point is that you are focused on like some projects, and that can really help you to get your focus off of everything that's going on in the world and into things that can center you, that can help you be happy and joyful, right? And that's the other thing is by gratitude journaling every single day, right when I wake up, it is immediately bringing my focus to things that light me up and bring me joy. And so that's how I'm thriving also, is from focusing on what is bringing me joy. And so honestly, I don't think there's any excuse for us not to be happy, even though we have to stay home. Or, there are ways to do it, and it's staying connected with people. Even though you can't like be touching them, you can still be calling them. I call my mom and I read to her over the phone. I call my mom, and she's working on a project where she is, and I'm working on a project where I am, and then we show them to each other, and we just keep motivating each other. And it has really just brought her back to life. It has been so important. Um, and then staying connected with my friends, and it's been really important. It's helped me to thrive. So it's not one thing that has allowed me to keep this joyfulness about me, this positive attitude. It's like all these things. All these things are my center, my dancer's core, right? So each of us needs to find what is going to keep us aligned and what is going to keep us joyful during these hard parts, these challenging times that are going on, right? It is possible. I don't think there's any excuse. None.
Absolutely. I was so agree with a lot of what you said. Um, we talked about a lot of this yesterday, but it's so important to understand certain things, like the power. I mentioned it yesterday. The power of there's a bad distraction, but there's also a good distraction, and I think there's a lot to be said for good distractions, as in having something like a productive hobby. I mentioned it yesterday about the whole concept of being in the flow state. There's a wonderful book called Flow, and when you actually get into something that you love doing, you get into something called a flow state, and then time tends to pass very quickly. You end up like, I mean, you could do it the whole day and you wouldn't even notice. Like, there are some things you do and you need a break every 30 minutes, but when you're doing something you love and you're in a bit of a flow state, then you could just do it for hours and hours, and time will pass, and you'll be in a state of real happiness, real fulfillment doing this. For me, I used to spend hours learning how to do magic. Like, it took me several attempts to learn how to do a Rubik's Cube, but I would just sit there for hours and hours, and time would just pass and pass. But I would learn how to do it, and then I used to teach myself, like I said, magic tricks, and I would spend this. I remember many years ago, I watched. Before there was DVDs, before there was any of that kind of stuff, I would watch this advert I taped on VHS on replay over and over again till I finally managed to kind of master some card tricks that I'd learned and things like that. And it would just took me so long. Like, literally, I must have had to put it on replay 100 times. But I just, through watching it again and again and again, and I could have carried on going until I perfected it. But it's those moments that keep us in a powerful state, and the more you do it, the more it kind of filters out the rest of your body. It's like your brain is producing chemicals at this time, and you start to feel much better, and you feel much stronger, and you feel much more balanced and centered. So I do a lot of that, and I definitely concur with having that focus or a pet project. My wife and I started Spanish at the beginning of first lockdown. We did do it for about 3 months, and we lost it a little bit, but we're planning to take it back up again. But I think that's so true, though, just about take up something that you've always wanted to do. What's something that you've always wanted to try? What's something that you've always wanted to do but keep putting off for one reason or another. Life gets in the way, right? Work is busy, this is, life is busy, you've got too much to do around the house, cleaning, cooking. But maybe this is an opportunity that you could actually then do these things, some of these things you've always been saying that you wanted to do, right?
This is like the opportunity. So here's my thing is I always try and take any challenging situation and I try and look at, okay, how can I turn this around and find the positive in it? All right. So that's how I live my life. It took me a long time to get into the practice of doing that. I used to like look at people and like, I don't know how you do it. How do you take the negative and make it positive? And here I am now. I'm like so good at it because like it literally took a lot of practice. It took a lot of practice. So you have to just look at each situation individually and like, okay, there is a positive in this. There is a lesson. There is a gem. There is a gem. And I'm going to find it. And once I find it, man, I build on that. I really build on that. Yeah. So you got to find the positive in this. There is.
What's been the mood over there actually? Because I think obviously everyone's dealing with different ways. There's different challenges going on everywhere. I mean, you're in Phoenix right now, and obviously elections, and and obviously everything else that's been going on. It's been such a crazy time. For just like I said, so many different things going on, and at a challenging time, and then another challenging thing happens, and then another challenging things, and these things get stacked on top of each other. So, like, what are you seeing firsthand, and what are you seeing other people do creatively to help themselves and help other people as well?
Well, I will have to say the energy is very intense out there with the elections. And they're counting the election. They're counting them now, right? So a lot of people are really tense, and there's a lot of people that are really scared. And I have one friend that she literally just goes into nature a lot to escape it, so that she is just filling herself with that. Okay, she'll go out and do lots of yard work, right? That's another thing that really helps her stay into that focus instead of focusing on the other, right? If you get so focused on that, it can just consume you. It can consume you. And you can actually make yourself sick if you are just so focused on those kind of things. You can go vote, and that's all you can do, right? So why not use the rest of your time constructively working on yourself, building your life, right? Let me think. What are some of the other things people are doing? So the workaholics are like working themselves. They're just not stopping. Oh gosh. I know a lot of people just doing crafts, a lot of nature. Then there's a lot of those of us who like to do our pages and are spending more time on their page and making more quote posters and stuff like that. Yeah, I just have to, like, my daughter is just staying really focused on her school because I have many of my adult children are in the middle of their semesters. So they're just staying really focused on their semester, on their schoolwork, and that's how they're combating it. And then I have one daughter who does her artwork, so that's something that fills her. Um, Another thing that, like, say my husband and I do, we also we read together, or we listen to books together, and when we finish one we start on another, so we're going through a whole series. And I also do that with my mom. So those are some of the things, you know. Yeah. And the other day I just said to my husband, I really want to learn salsa dancing.
I used to do salsa a long time ago.
I'm like, I really want to learn. So I'm like, you know, maybe we should find some on YouTube and learn how to do salsa, even if it's at home. I don't care, you know, just
Why not?
something to get moving and to get, you know, keep my brain occupied. And, you know,
I said,
I have a lot of projects that I'm doing, so I'm not worried about myself, you know, and my family, they're all doing really good because, we've shared this with them, and they're not getting so intense with everything that's going on the stage. You know what I'm saying? They're taking care of their own lives and thriving, just like my husband and I, right?
absolutely. I say to people as well, like, you've got infinity in your hand. You literally, I mean,
Right.
how much you learn or do or, absorb from just having this incredible. I always say to people, like, for me, this is just, it doesn't matter how common it becomes. For me, it's a marvel of technology to have this in your hand. There's just so much that can be done, but we just don't explore it. Like you
Right.
said, right? You're going to learn dancing through it. You can take up other skills, you can learn things, gain knowledge, and do some incredible things. But unless you're, it's what I say to people about, when I teach my mindset mastery course, it's all well and good saying things, but unless you do, and getting yourself to do it even when you don't feel like doing it is the key. But you've got so many options there.
Yeah.
You'll find everything free: guitar lessons, music lessons, the
Right.
salsa dancing, whatever else,
Right.
magic, anything. Do
I
TikTok
mean, you could
videos if you
learn,
want to.
you could travel except not travel. Like you could
Yeah,
learn about countries and you could learn languages. Oh man, there's just so much. So, I mean, we will do, like, just for our household, we'll do like backyard grilling or barbecues, a couple times a week, so that we're doing different things, but we're staying active in our life. We're not getting intense with what's going on with the world, and that's really helped us. So should we review some of the things that we've talked about that can really help people, or you want to do that?
yeah, absolutely. And there was one last thing I was going to say, which was quite an important part of this. But before I just say that, like, I think the the I know I've not been around quite as long as you, Holly. Actually, to be honest, we're not that age different, to be honest, as well. But these for me, life is always going to come with the ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
and they never vanish. No matter what we think, there's never going to be a moment where suddenly you're happy and permanently happy and a smile on your face, and that's it. We've got to understand that the bipolar is the nature of life. We live with ups and downs. We have down times. We can appreciate the good times, and we must work with them rather than try and fight against it, and understand that the times when we're down are the opportunities with which we can discover more about ourselves than we ever knew before, and just find ways to not only find out about us but enjoy life, discover new things, find out
Yeah.
about ourselves, about other opportunities, adventures, anything, and so for me, that the nature of the universe, the very nature of the universe, is one of contrast, is one of relative,
Mm-hmm.
and so we are that is our nature. We're supposed to have these moments, and we're supposed to go through this together as a human species,
Right.
um, and so seize those opportunities, because they don't come often. I don't think we're going to see a time like this in our lifetimes anyway, definitely. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of this, where we go from here.
I read a quote actually a couple hours ago, um, and it said something like, "Better days are coming." And here's what I wrote to that person on who's running that page. I said, "Better days are all in the mind. Because if we keep saying, and I didn't go on, but that's all I said on that poster. I said, better days are in the mind. And here's my explanation for that. If we keep saying better days are coming, that is an excuse for not making better days right now. We can make this day right now our best day. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. And here's another thing. By saying better days are coming, you're saying that really what's going on out in the world is controlling your happiness. If your better day can be right now, it doesn't have to be what's going on in the world. Your happiness depends on you right now, today. Doesn't matter if it's in lockdown. It doesn't matter if whoever is trying to become president or you know what I mean? The point is you are in control of your own life, and stop waiting for those better days, and you make today that better day. You make now that better day, and stop using that as an excuse of putting it off. So that quote kind of bothers me now, like, because to me it's like somebody procrastinating their happiness, right? Yeah.
100%, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I don't know if you've noticed, but our sound issue is back. So I have no idea what is causing this.
Isn't that funny?
It's crazy. I've used an entirely new tool, different browser, everything. So I'm not sure what's causing this sound issue, but I will eventually get to the bottom of it. But so like you said, we will kind of summarize. So if you want to tell your list of things, what you say to people, the ideal way to manage your well-being, stay balanced, and also stay happy and fulfilled as well at the same time. Enjoy this time, make the most of it. What's your top tip?
All right, so just to review, align yourself right when you get up, and you do your self-care immediately. Okay. And that would be the things that you need to do for your soul, your spirit. Okay. Your prayer, your meditation, your self hug, your self love talk, your affirmations, whatever kind of things you do. Maybe you're reading. Okay. You get in 30 minutes cardio every day. You get out of the house and you get some nature in, or you dance in the living room, or you do something like that. 30 minutes cardio. I don't care if you jump up in front of while you're doing dishes and you move around. So 30 minutes cardio every day. Nature, if you can. Okay. That's so good for you. It's just emotionally healing. Get yourself involved in projects and learning. Okay. Keep your brain working. Eating healthy and getting enough sleep, and then staying connected to people. Even though you can't be with them in person, you can be connected with them over the phone, and that's really important. And do laughing with them, laugh with them. Okay. Whether it's turning on a funny movie, or whether it's just laughing about the silly things going on in the world. Okay. There's a lot of silliness, even with the seriousness. So you can laugh about the silly stuff. And, so those would be like my. I'm not sure I understand. Oh, so those would be my.
Like, no, that's exactly it. That's it. That's the silly moment there.
So those would be my recap of how you can stay centered, aligned, and happy during all the turbulence that's going on. It is possible to thrive, and it's all up to you. And when I say thrive, I mean being happy, I mean being grateful and finding the joy in the moments, and just really building your life. And it doesn't matter if you have to stay home. It doesn't matter. You can still find all that joy. You really can.
Absolutely, I so agree, and I guess the only things that I add to that really is just mainly that I spend a bit of time just with that personal reflection, meditation. I think that are just really important, and using those moments to remember who we truly are. That we are not this character that we've invented on the outside. We're something much more powerful, much more incredible on the inside. When you remember that, not be attached to the results, the outcomes, the things that are happening, but that's part of the kind of like the world drama, the eternal drama of life that is going to always keep on happening. But it's only when we get attached to them do we really experience these major ups and downs that can have an impact on our well-being. But if we remember that actually that we're just here playing a role, but it's not who we truly are, then we can kind of stay much more balanced,
Yeah.
steady, and enjoy as well. Enjoy these, even sometimes enjoy the downs, enjoy the challenges, and really, really see it as a blessing.
Yeah, and that can be challenging for people to really look at it that way. But I always, like, when I was going through my challenges, I knew that I would get through it. I just knew. And so if you have that hope that you will get through it, if you are actually working on it, then you will get through it. You will. Okay? Something that really helped me is, like you said, is reflection journaling. Okay? And trying to always find that positive gem in whatever challenge I was going through. Okay? And so that is why I put today's reflection. Okay? Oh, you can't see it. Today's reflection. Focus on the lessons and the gems. Okay? And you can find my self-care logbook, accountability logbook, so you're accountable to yourself, and the reflection journal on my website, which is joyfulnavigations.com.
Absolutely, and your page as well, which is Positive Quotes with author Holly.
Yeah, woohoo! And I do broadcast with a smile every Monday. Every Monday. Yeah.
And one last thing as well, I just want to say for anyone watching this as well, when you hear Holly's story of what she's been through, and you'll start to realize that she's not one of these people who's had it all in life, and nothing could be further from the truth. And so when you see this, even myself as well, when you see us smiling, that's not just because everything's good and everything's wonderful and everything's given to us on a plate. It's because we've in many ways had to fight the hardest through some of these challenges, and we've been tested. And so through those challenges and tests, we understand what it takes to keep our heads held high, to thrive, and to find our center, find our happiness despite everything going on. So that's why we speak with authority and experience in this matter as well. So
absolutely. I concur 100%.
yeah.
Like it's actually, just on that, like sometimes on my broadcast, someone says, "Oh, you have no idea." And I literally, I stopped 2 times ago. I stopped, and when I read that, and I was like, actually, I do have an idea. Let me just tell you a little, okay? Because I've been through it all. I've been through it all. So nothing, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I said, I already went through my trauma healing. So everything that else is going on in the world is not traumatic to me right now, because I've already been through worse. And so I've already done my healing. And so now I'm in a place where I am happy. I've got myself aligned. And now I can be that light for other people because I have already done my trauma work. Okay. And so that is how I'm able to smile. I've had to work my butt off to get this. Okay. And this is not going away because now I know what it takes to keep it every day. That is why I created these. I keep taking it. That's why I created these. you know, and the gratitude journaling. Oh my gosh, this has changed my life. So I know what it takes to keep this joy within me, and I'm going to do everything I can to keep it. And that's why I created these tools to help everyone else if they want to take that journey and they want to work hard to keep that joy. Okay? Because I know what it takes. So I was able to create these products to help people. It took work, just like with you. It took work.
Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
that's a good note to end it on as well. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. We're going to be back next first Tuesday of the month with
Yay!
better sound quality.
With a whole new topic.
Yeah, no, with a whole new topic. And next time it is going to be perfect, damn it.
I it's just hilarious actually that, you know, we have static back.
I know.
With a whole different, you know, a whole different oh gosh.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm still going to experiment. I'm determined to get to the bottom of it. We'll figure it out. So this is my challenge. This is my project now for next time.
All right. We will see you next first Tuesday of November.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we'll be out of lockdown by then as well. If I'm December.
It is November.
December.
Of December. I've lost a little time here.
Yeah. we may be out of lockdown by then, but it's not certain. So we'll see what has happened and changed since then. And we genuinely hope this has helped you, and especially during this tough time and with everything going on. But stay strong, stay true. You'll get through it.
Yep.
Alrighty, everyone. We've enjoyed having you company. I hope you've enjoyed ours, and we'll speak to you in a month. See you later.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Author Holly, your joyful guide.
And Amit Sodha as well, her joyful mate.
Oh my God.